Buongiorno and welcome back to Brooklyn Cooking. Today we're doing pesto. On this beautiful Sunday morning, we're going to start outside. Welcome to my Brooklyn herb garden. I never promised you a herb garden. Here is the basil. Since we were doing pesto today, this is the star of the show, or as in Brooklyn we say, basilico. And we have some parsley, thyme, rosemary, sage, some oregano back there, and chives and mint that you can't kill if you've tried to. Okay, so let me grab my basilico and parsley, and we'll see you inside. Okay, welcome back to the kitchen. And here is the basil plant, and here am I. Basil's a wonderful thing. If you cut it right, they will keep growing. If you cut just above these two nodes, whatever they are, these two will be split out and become plants, and they go all the way down the plant. So we're going to take a little clip here, and we're going to clip a lot. It will keep going down. With these, we're just going to use the leaves. We're throwing them in here because we're going to wash them. Even though these are pesticide free, we'll still give them a quick rinse because the bugs and the bees like them. So we're going to finish cutting up the two, and we'll come back rather than bore you to death with this. All right, this is what's left of one of the plants. As you can see, cut it down pretty good. I just want to show you something, the way they keep growing. This is where you can see I cut a while ago. I cut over there, and these two grew into two more plants, and then they keep going. So I let this go a little too long because I was waiting for this video. I wanted a lot, but if you clean this up every week or two, you'll have basil the whole year. Now, one thing you don't want to do with picking basil, unless you see a bad one, you don't want to just go lift it, picking off leaves when you need one. Cut where you're supposed to cut. This is the beginning of August right now. We're getting towards the end of summer. Eventually, these will start growing flowers. When they start growing flowers, that's kind of plant is saying, I'm going to die and I'm going to plant some seed. So when you see these little white flowers forming, cut them off right away, and they'll stay alive a little longer. Okay, this is what we cut off. Now, we don't want the stems in pesto, especially not these hard ones. We don't even want the small ones. This pesto's a leaf-only thing, so you just want to pull off the leaves. We'll chop it up anyway. If they break, they break. Got a lot to pick off, so we'll be back. I've been making pesto a pretty long time. I never looked at a recipe, but whenever I do these videos, since I'm not a professional, I always look up some. And you'll see if you look up pesto recipes, you can find 100 of them and not one will be the same. You could also make parsley pesto, but we're not doing that. I don't see them in any recipes, but we always mixed in a little parsley with the basil and maybe 25% parsley to whatever basil you got. I think it gives it a nice taste. Parsley is a lot easier to cut. You just boom and whatever. Like any herb, if you don't grow your own, you can buy these in the store. You can buy a bunch of basil. You go out and buy some parsley, cheap, 3 for $1, 2 for $1. And just when I send out my jerky son, I sent him out for parsley once in the winter, and he came back with cilantro. Well, it happens. They look the same, but they smell different. Anyway, I have the basil soaking, and we'll be ready to roll in a minute. We washed the basil and the parsley. We put it through a salad spinner, but you really want this dry, so we wrapping it up in paper towels for a while. The old world way says to do this with a mortar and pestle. Kind of a lot. Ain't nobody got time for that, so we're going to put that away and take out a little food processor. Makes our life a little easier. So, the stars of the show, of course, are the basil. We need some good Parmesan cheese, some good olive oil. Need some garlic. And pine nuts. If you can see the price on these are the real Italian pine nuts, $86 a pound. A lot of money. This little bag was 19 bucks. So if you drop one or two, you pick them up and you eat them. Let the buck out the window. Anyway, we toasted them up a drop, and we're gonna get ready to go. Garlic, I always cut off the end. Like I say, there's no recipe. You don't like this much garlic. I like garlic. You use less. I like to give it a little head start for the food processor and just give it a quick chop. And anyway, we'll start. Looks like all this won't fit, but you'll see how it goes down. We'll put in a few pieces of garlic. And this first, I'll get the top. Speed it up. And then we'll add some more. Throw in a little oil. Need a lot more oil than that. Hopefully I don't need a bigger boat. See, you see something bad, you dump it. Need a good amount of oil. This is a lot of oil in this. Parsley in there. A little more pine nuts. The cheese will do after it's all chopped up. More oil. Now you can see those bits of pine nuts in there. A little more, a little less, ain't gonna hurt. I toasted them, they're going in. I cut the garlic, they're going in. You want to get a little rubber spatula, knock it down. See, this is still way too thick. And now it's just a matter of getting the oil right. It's getting there. You're at a point now, if you're making this to eat now, or you're freezing it for the winter. My father would always say, if you're going to freeze it, don't add the cheese yet. You could add that later. You could do it whatever you want. We're going to put everything in there because we're going to probably use this. But if you're going to freeze this, you put it in a small jar. We'll show the jars later. And you cover it with a little oil and then put it in the freezer. Now for the Maruffi secret ingredient. Before we add the Parmesan, because I want to blend this. Parmesan we don't need to blend. My father was from Milano. He would always add a drop of cream cheese. He said it smoothed it out. And in honor of my father, you won't see this in any recipes, but in honor of my father, I always got to put in cream cheese. All right, we don't have enough room in here. If we had a big food processor, we could put in cheese. So I'm going to grate up the cheese and add this to a bowl, and then we'll mix the cheese in. Okay, we grated up the cheese. Maybe we got a half a cup here. And we're going to add this in and mix it in. You can do this in the food processor. It was big enough. Need a lot of cheese. Like I say, this is a recipe how you like it. You want more cheese, you add more cheese. You want less cheese, you use less cheese. You can't afford the good pine nuts, you could use walnuts instead. And you know, it never hurts to add a drop of salt and pepper. This could probably, now with the cheese, add a drop more oil. Nobody said this was low fat, but it's good fat. Okay, now it's where we're going to store this stuff or put it. Now you could just leave it in here, but it's a lot. It's a lot for a meal or whatever. So we're going to put them into these little jars for now, since we're not freezing them. If I was going to freeze them, I would use these mini ball jars or some jars I kept from my sausage making, or baby food jars are great. The little Gerber baby food jars. When my cameraman was a little baby, my father would always say, "Don't throw out those jars. I need them. Save the jars." Anyway, that's what we did. We're going to put some in here. I think we need a bigger boat. It would be a perfect recipe. And for my fans, you know what a perfect recipe is. It doesn't matter if it's good or not. It matters if it fits in the jars you intended to put it in. That's about it. We'll give it a little taste. A little finger taste. Delicious. And you adjust to your taste. And that's it. We'll cover these and we're done. Now that we did all this work, what are we going to eat it with? You know, the main thing is macaroni with pesto. Either, rigatoni goes nice, ziti, any spaghetti, it doesn't matter. It also goes well on top of chicken. I don't know if you want to put it on fish. You try it, what do you like? But it goes very well with chicken. We only have one top here, so the other one, we'll just put a little plastic wrap on it, and that's it. Uh, anyway, a little tip on freezing basil, what I found to be great. It's that, it's hard to freeze basil. It turns brown. The greatest thing, maybe I'll do a video on it one day, is just get some little ice cube trays, put some basil in the ice cube trays, cover it with a little sauce, and then next time you make sauce, you got a little ice cube of sauce and basil. You just throw it in your sauce, and boom, it comes out perfect. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button and subscribe, and hit the notification button if you want to get notifications anytime we put out a new video. And that's it. Hopefully we can get one out every week or two. So far I'm on schedule. So arrivederci from Brooklyn.